This video is brought to you by SoccerLoco.com. Be sure to use coupon code 10SR4U at checkout to receive 10% off any order of $75 or more. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the AG variation of the Nike Magista Obra in the Volt Hyper Punch and Metallic Gold colorway. Now inside the box, as you get with all the top-end models from Nike, a string bag is included. This particular string bag is Volt yellow in color, features black strings. On the front you're going to find a black Nike swoosh, and on the back you're going to find your black Nike football branding. So we'll get that out of the way. And other than that, all you're going to find inside the box are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these out of the box really quickly. And if you guys could take a second to leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. So here is a look at the artificial grass variation of the very popular and very unique Nike Magista Obra. Obviously, I featured the firm ground version on the channel in several videos. There's actually a full written review on my website if you guys want to check that out. I'll leave a link down below in the description, as well as an annotation on screen to my playtest video of the Magista Obra if you want to see the shoes in action and just learn more about this very unique Flyknit one-piece mid-cut design. But basically what we're going to be talking about today is a little bit about the upper, but for the most part that has remained unchanged, whether you go for the firm ground, AG, or soft ground pro variations. But instead we're going to be highlighting and focusing more on the sole plate and stud pattern, which is specifically designed for artificial grass, and as you can see is significantly different than the firm ground variation. So again, there are some minor differences here that we're going to be talking about in today's video. So with that being said, let's get right into the AG Nike Magista Obra. At this point, I think everybody is pretty familiar with the launch colorway for the Magista line, so we're not even going to talk about it in today's video. So instead, we're going to start off with the sole plate and stud pattern featured on the artificial grass Magista Obra. Now, one of the biggest differences that I was not expecting until I actually saw the shoe and held it in my hand is that the sole plate and the heel counter are not one piece like it is on the firm ground and the soft ground pro variations. You can see you have your sole plate, it ends, and then you have your heel counter, which is kind of fused together, if you will. It's pretty much one piece, but technically isn't a true one-piece sole plate and heel counter combo like what you're going to find on the firm ground variation like I have right here. So you can see it's one piece, there's no seams whatsoever. Again, do I think this is going to have a big impact on the overall performance? The answer to that question is no. I don't think you're going to notice much of a difference, if any at all. But one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of online retailers are showing different images of this particular shoe in the AG variation. You're going to see different patterns on the sole. You're going to see one-piece heel counters as opposed to two-piece, and that is simply because a lot of these online retailers, prior to the actual release of the Magista Obra, received early pre-production sample variations of the shoe to take pictures of and then send back, just so they could have pictures ready for when the shoes actually launched. This is something I've explained on the channel several times now, and from time to time it is a problem where you see a picture and then receive a product that isn't exactly like the picture. Just keep in mind that if you order a pair of AG Obras from any legitimate online retailer, regardless of what picture they're showing, this is the product that you will receive, because this is the production variation of the artificial grass Magista Obra. So as far as the one-piece or two-piece heel counter and sole plate combo, again, I don't think too much of it in terms of the overall performance. It's made from the same material. The only difference is it's not fused together as one piece. It's two separate elements. As far as the sole plate itself is concerned, again, it is different from the firm ground variation, which is pretty much all compressed nylon. There is a black underlay material, but for the most part, it's on the thicker side as far as sole plates go. It maintains a nice lightweight feel, and it's very, very responsive. It has a stiffer than average kind of flex profile in comparison to most high-end soccer shoes, which to me suits this shoe really, really well. Is the AG variation of the Magista Obra just as stiff? I would argue that it is. It's maybe a touch softer overall just because it's a slightly different material, but for the most part it still feels very, very good. And again, it's going to maintain a similar level of performance and a similar feel overall in comparison to the firm ground sole plate. So what are you getting here? A lot of you guys may recognize this AG sole plate. It's not identical, but it's very, very similar to that of the AG Nike Hypervenom Phantom, which I have right here. So you can see that you have a glass nylon insert in the heel and midfoot, kind of flowing right into the forefoot, and then it's more of a solid thicker plastic material in the forefoot and toe box area. Again, very much like what you're going to find on the AG Magista Obra, with the major difference is that this glass nylon material kind of flows into the forefoot big toe area. Again, does this make a big difference in terms of the overall flexibility? I would argue no, but it is a difference nonetheless. Then you have your little support beam over top, just like what you're going to find on the Hypervenom Phantom. And then, of course, the AG stud pattern is also identical on both of these shoes. Again, is this a big deal? Absolutely not. The performance of the AG Hypervenom Phantom in terms of overall traction was, in my opinion, very, very good. So I would expect the same from the Magista Obra. That's really all you need to take away from this. When you're playing on a surface like artificial grass, some changes have to be made, not only for traction, not only for safety, but also for durability. I get a lot of questions as to why an AG stud pattern is more durable and better to use on artificial grass than a firm ground stud pattern. It's not just the stud pattern itself, it's not just the upper, it actually has to do with the sole plate. It's made from thicker, more durable plastic materials that are better suited to deal with excessive amounts of heat, which is generally what you're going to expose your shoes to if you're playing on artificial grass, especially in the middle of the summer. So something like this, again, is going to be a lot more durable, perform a lot better on artificial grass in the summertime in comparison to a firm ground stud pattern, which realistically is only designed for use on firm natural grass playing surfaces. So as far as the stud pattern itself is concerned, you can see you have these kind of oval shaped studs scattered throughout. The studs themselves have a base of like a hard plastic, and then they're tipped with a softer rubber material that have a little bit of flexibility to them. Hopefully you guys can see that. And that little bit of flexibility gives it a break in the grip. So when you're pushing off, you're going to get that sensation of wearing firm ground studs. But when you're pivoting and rotating your foot when it's planted into the ground, it's not going to cling to the turf. They're also a little bit shorter, as you guys can see, in comparison to a standard firm ground stud, just because artificial grass generally tends to not be very deep, and you don't need studs that are super long to dig in. Again, it makes for that clingy feel where you're almost tripping over your feet, and should you plant and make a really quick change of direction or something like that, having studs that are too long and provide too much grip can actually be detrimental to not only your body, but also the shoes themselves. So something like this, again, just performs really, really well. It's going to feel a lot more stable on artificial grass, and the traction that you get from this, trust me when I say, is better than a standard firm ground variation. Once you've used an AG stud pattern on artificial grass, you won't go back, trust me when I say that. So that's pretty much it as far as the AG stud pattern is concerned, and next we'll take a look at the rest of the upper on the Magista Obra. As far as the upper is concerned on the AG Magista Obra, it is no different whatsoever from the firm ground variation. So if you were worried about that, don't be. There's no difference whatsoever in the material, meaning that the fit, the touch, and just the overall performance is going to be right on par with the standard firm ground version. Now, if you guys want more detailed information on the overall performance and just general feel of this mid-cut one-piece Flyknit upper, I would strongly recommend, again, checking out the full written review of the firm ground variation that I have up on my website, soccerreviewsforyou.com. There'll be a link to that down below in the description. And you can also check out my playtest videos. I have several of them up on YouTube. I'll leave several annotations on screen if you guys want to go ahead and check those out. This is one of those shoes that I could talk about for an hour straight and still not run out of things to say. But for the sake of the video, we're going to try and run through things fairly quickly. So Flyknit, for those that don't know, is a machine knitted material, similar to a sock, I guess, in terms of the fact that it's knitted, but it's much more complex than that in reality. Flyknit is made out of several different types of yarns and synthetic fibers, all knit into a one-piece enclosure for your foot, kind of creating that seamless one-to-one sensation when you're wearing the shoe. And that's really the best way of describing it. Now, in comparison to the Superfly 4, the Flyknit upper on the Magista Obra is very, very structured and dense, and it has a good thickness to it. It's extremely rugged and just feels really, really good. Now, around the main part of the foot, excluding the mid-cut collar as well as the central lacing here, this is going to be a non-stretchy variation of Flyknit. covered by a thin layer of Nike skin, as you can see, and then that's finished off with ACC All Conditions Control acting as your wet control element. The Nike skin provides a slight amount of extra grip on the ball, while the texturing provided by the Flyknit base just feels really good and very high quality. There's actually Brio cables that run directly through the Flyknit into the lacing system. Brio cables are essentially a similar concept to Flywire. For those that don't know, it's a cable that runs from the base of the sole into the laces. So when you pull the laces tight, it's really going to grab the upper and hold it against your foot, keep everything in place. And when you're making those hard lateral quick changes of direction, it's not going to allow the upper to move around on you whatsoever. Now, as far as the second variation of Flyknit is concerned, it is a lot more stable. It's a lot more flexible and a lot softer. It has this elasticated quality to it, and it's made up of several different layers. So in terms of durability, I really don't have any worries, and I haven't had any issues with the Magista Obra thus far, and I've put a lot of hours into them. So this elasticated portion really does a good job of allowing you to put the shoe on and take it off a lot more easily. And once you have the shoe on, that elasticated area through the middle really helps the shoe to hug your foot even prior to tying the laces tight. It makes for that sock-like kind of compression style of fit that is really unique to only the one-piece Flyknit shoes from Nike, the Magista Obra and the Superfly 4. It's not for everybody, but to me at least, it feels really good. If you're sold on this concept, you're probably going to like this shoe. As far as the mid-cut collar is concerned, it's called the Dynamic Fit collar from Nike. It features no plastic, there's no extra material here. It's very, very soft and flexible. And again, it's a little bit thicker than you might expect, but certainly does not get in the way. It does have a snug fit around your ankle, which you guys will see in just a second when I put the shoes on my feet. But overall, it's a little bit strange at first, but once you get used to it and kind of get past the fact that you're wearing a mid-cut soccer shoe, it's something that you really don't think about too much while you're playing. It doesn't really provide much in the way of extra support, perhaps a false sensation of support, I would say, but not any actual support that you wouldn't get from a standard low-cut shoe. But nonetheless, it's a very, very cool concept. And again, if you're sold on this idea from Nike, you're probably going to like the shoe. The inside does feature a heel liner for those that are wondering, and the insole is fully removable. In fact, I'll give you guys a quick look at it. It's nothing too fancy. It features a mesh liner on top with your Magista branding at the heel, perforations throughout, and it's just one single layer of this yellow foam. It doesn't slide around or anything like that, and the thickness of the foam does make for some pretty good step-in comfort. But that's pretty much it as far as the tech specs and what you need to know about the one-piece mid-cut design. Again, more info can be found in the full review, linked down below in the description. But that's enough about the shoe, and move on next to a quick weigh-in so you can see how lightweight these guys are. In terms of weight, the Magista Obra is surprisingly lightweight despite how it may look. With that being said, there is a little bit more weight to the AG variation of the shoe in comparison to the firm ground version. And again, this has everything to do with the thicker, more heavy-duty plastics used in the sole plate for the sake of dealing with the heat and just better durability overall. So for the sake of comparison, I'm going to weigh in both of these two shoes in real time for you. This is the firm ground variation. This is the AG variation. Both are a size 9 US. We'll start off with the firm ground version, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.3 ounces. So again, very lightweight for a shoe of this type. I guess it really doesn't compare to anything else other than the Superfly, but again, it's in a similar weight range to that shoe as well. So we'll take that off the scale. We'll throw on the AG variation, and you can see that these weigh in at 8.1 ounces. So they're almost a full ounce more than the firm ground variation. Still nice and light at 8 ounces. They're certainly not going to weigh you down. And because of how they fit and just feel on your feet in general, the weight of the shoe is not really something that you notice. You kind of forget that you're wearing shoes altogether. But nonetheless, like I mentioned, there is more weight to this shoe for the simple fact that this sole plate is better suited to deal with heat, and you have obviously a lot more studs and a thicker rubber material on the base of the sole in comparison to the much more lightweight, low-profile design that you're going to find from the firm ground sole plate and stud pattern. So that's pretty much it as far as the weigh-in portion of this video goes. And to move on next to a quick on feet so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. Alright, here's a look at the Magista Obra AGs on feet. And in terms of how they fit and feel in comparison to the firm ground version, The answer to that question is they feel pretty much identical. There's no noticeable difference in stiffness or just general flexibility of the sole plate. It feels very similar. And the shape and just general fit of the upper, again, is pretty much exactly the same. You're not going to notice much of a difference whatsoever. And I would assume that the same thing is going to be the case for the Soft Ground Pro variation. They're all built on the same last. They're all going to feature sole plates that are similar, but slightly modified to better suit that particular stud pattern that they are supporting. So, in terms of the overall fit and feel, what's unique about the Magista Obra and all of these one-piece mid-cut Flyknit models from Nike is that, like I mentioned, it creates that seamless effect where there is no kind of transition point from where the shoe starts and where the shoe ends. That's part of the reason why it's mid-cut. It creates that seamless effect. And again, once the shoes are broken in, once you're kind of used to how they feel, they create that sensation of being a part of your body, an extension of your body as opposed to a pair of shoes on your feet. And to me, that is the most unique aspect of these shoes overall. In terms of fit, it's a tighter fitting shoe because of that one-piece kind of Flyknit sock-like type of feel that Nike is going for here. But it's not a super narrow shoe either, and as long as you don't have excessively wide feet, this is one of those shoes that should fit everybody pretty well. There's a decent amount of width in the forefoot and midfoot area, while the toe box is a little bit more snug. But overall, again, as long as you don't have excessively wide feet, these should fit you pretty well. One thing to keep in mind though is that the Flyknit upper is not going to give much at all. So the way that it fits from right out of the box is the way it's going to fit for the majority of its lifespan, at least for the first several hours after you got them from brand new. In terms of sizing, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair, I would strongly recommend going true to size. And in regards to the ankle collar, again, if you're not used to it, it's a new thing for a lot of people. It's going to feel a little bit strange at first, but once you kind of get past that sensation of, oh my gosh, I'm wearing mid-cut soccer shoes, it's not something that you really notice, and they aren't as high cut as a lot of people, I think, realize. It's just slightly above, almost right towards the middle of your ankle. So again, it's not a super high cut shoe. It's just enough to, again, to create that seamless effect. So that's pretty much it as far as the on-feet portion of this video goes, and I'll leave you to my final thoughts. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing of the AG Nike Magista Obra. I've said this many times on my channel, and I'll say it again. If you frequently or often play on artificial grass playing surfaces, it really is worth it to invest in an AG pair of soccer cleats. Not only are they going to last a lot longer, not only are they going to perform a lot better, they're also going to be a lot safer to wear, which at the end of the day should be one of the most important aspects of any piece of performance footwear. Wearing firm ground or soft ground shoes on artificial grass simply is not safe. Something like this is not only a lot better performance-wise, again, not only going to be a lot more durable, but it's also a lot safer. As far as the Magista Obra is concerned, it's something that is very unique. It's not for everybody, but again, if you're sold on the concept, I think this is one of those shoes that a lot of people are going to enjoy. I really have a good time wearing them, and the performance aspects of the shoe is actually very, very impressive as well. So again, if you want more information on the shoe, there will be a link down below in the description to the review page on my website where you can find the full written review. I'm going to follow up with my full written review of the AG version, hopefully within the next week or two. Just want to get a chance to try it out, verify how this stud pattern and sole plate actually does perform, even though it's very similar to the Hypervenom Phantom, something I already have experience with. And again, that full written review will come, but if you want to check out the review for the firm ground version, there'll be a link down below in the description to that as well. But on the review page for this guy, you'll find the buy it now links if you're interested in buying a pair of these for yourself, along with exclusive SR4U coupon codes allowing you to pick them up below the retail price. And you're also going to find the high quality images if you want to get a better idea as to how these actually do look in person. I'll also leave annotations on screen to all of my playtest performance videos on the Magista Obras as well. So be sure to go ahead and check those out if you're looking for more info on this very unique product. Other than that though guys, if you have any questions or suggestions, leave those down below in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.